Well, what is clear this evening, Matt, is that this is not over yet. And I say that in part because of the forecast you mentioned for torrential rain in some places during the rest of this week. And, you know, the Environment Agency is saying to us that, by and large, the defences have done their job, that the work has been effective, that about 25,000 homes that would have been a risk have been protected. But then there are also places like Bridgnorth, where we are this evening, where they don't have those flood defences. And people look at the river, it's incredibly full at the moment, and they wonder how it can take any more water. Days after the storms, but still underwater. In Bridgnorth, life is nowhere near back to normal, and the Riverside Caravan Park is more like in a lake. The water level is slowly starting to drop. The same can't be said for the frustration felt by many.
A bit like being on board a ship.
It's like being on a ship, Pauline told me, with water all around her home. You guys don't have any defences here, do you?
No, not at all. Not any. The cottages down there, they get the water's been so high, it's just gone straight through the letterboxes, straight through the windows. But I mean, look at all this. And it's not just now, it's the clearing up. It's going to take weeks to clear it all up.
In other towns along the River Severn, flood defences were bolstered. In Ironbridge, where dozens of homes were evacuated yesterday, there was a major emergency operation ahead of last night's peak in the water level. And in Bewdley, we're told the flood defences did their job, holding up against an exceptional amount of water. In Bridgnorth, there aren't as many flooded homes as in some places, but with only sandbags to keep the water out, many feel they've been left to fend for themselves.
I know a lot of the locals worry that Bridgnorth is being ignored a little bit, and that things like this are going to happen more and more, and that we haven't really got any protection against them.
Things might change, though, according to the chief exec of the local council. He told me they are looking at options.
Everywhere is assessed on a risk-assessed basis. Bridgnorth doesn't flood that often. That's no compensation if there is flooding here. The council understands that, and we will be looking at and pressing for what we can do for Bridgnorth in the future.
Isn't the reality that you need Boris Johnson to come down here and see this?
I think we'd all welcome the Prime Minister coming and having a look. We can't control that, but he would be welcome to come and visit us. We would host him and enable him to see the impact that this has had on our communities.
What would you say to the Prime Minister about the impact? What's your message to him today?
I can't comment on that.
Others have plenty to say on that, though.
But the big question is, where's the Prime Minister? Where is Boris Johnson? After 2015, we got support that was unlocked by a Cobra meeting. That support has not been forthcoming this time, because what would it take for that man to call a Cobra meeting?
At odds with his response during the run-up to the election, we've not seen any of this time around.
I know you speed up my work rate, yeah.
We were told today he has no plans at the moment to visit anywhere affected by this month's storms. There are, though, emergency grants of £500 that people can apply for, with bigger sums for homes and businesses to help pay for flood defence measures. But in Bridgnorth and many other places, first, they need the water to go and the rain to stop.
Claire Fallon. Well, in Wales, there's little respite for flood-hit communities, with more heavy rain forecast this evening. At least 1,000 properties are thought to have been affected. The heavy rain has also caused numerous landslides. Tonight, the Welsh First Minister said that he will be asking the UK government for financial help because of the scale of the damage. Our Home Affairs correspondent Andy Davis is in Pentre in the Rhondda Valley. Andy, you're looking very wet.
Oh, Matt, it's pouring down, and that's a real concern for many communities tonight. This is one of the roads that was really badly flooded at the weekend, and I've just come from a meeting which was packed out with residents in this part of the Rhondda Valley, which I think it's fair to say feels a little bit forgotten in all the coverage. And there is real anger there tonight, concern about whether more could have been done to protect the homes here. There are questions about insurance difficulties, questions about what financial help might be available to them. And this is a scene being repeated across parts of Wales over the last few days. We've met many people who are homeless, who are vulnerable and deeply traumatised. I met one young woman who has mobility issues, and she told me how in the middle of the morning, on Sunday morning, the door burst in. She was up to her neck in floodwater and crawling up the stairs to escape it. She thought she was going to die, she said. So there is deep trauma in some of these communities.
You've been speaking to many people in those communities, as you said. What have they been telling you?
Well, just that they feel slightly impotent at the moment and trying to work out where the help is going to come from, despite, an army of volunteers, a phenomenal community response. As for the public authorities, the local authority is sending in as many workers as they can. The Welsh Government has announced £10 million of funding, but in an emergency summit in Cardiff today, I was told that council leaders were getting text updates as the meeting was going with new reports of flooded homes, of homes which had been flooded. So the scale of this is immense, and the UK government is so concerned that the Welsh Government, is so concerned it's asked the Treasury for more funding. The local council here has been saying there are bridges that need repairing, roads that need repairing, and in the midst of this landslip that you saw over the weekend, concerns about that. So there are communities here which really are suffering right now and in need of help.